Welcome to Thav Exclusive. I am your host, Natasha Brown. On this episode, we'll be speaking with an astute individual. He is absolutely intelligent. He is the CEO of Fourthman Tech Company and also the founder of the Startup Show with Rhythm FM Port Harcourt. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So, Mr. Boma Peters, I know that initially you were asking me if I remembered your name. Yes, I absolutely do. Okay. Because it sounds like you're from my area, but then no, you're not. Welcome on the show. Universal.
Yes.
Welcome on the show.
Thank you very much.
And I love your story. I love your history. I love what you do. I think that is inspirational. I think that it is absolutely amazing to have that kind of reach in Port Harcourt, which is not primarily heard of. But before I talk too much about you, let's get to know more about you. Just give us a background about you.
Okay, my name is Boma Peters. I'm a software developer, studied computer engineering, I like food. I'm a nice guy.
What kind of food though?
Well, I'm not picky. I just like good food. Right, I like good food.
I thought I was going to hear maybe like a fish pepper soup as a riversman that you are.
I try not to discriminate. Everything is fair game. As far as it doesn't have too much pepper, but we're good.
Okay, so now, Fourthman Company, what is that about? What are you into?
Okay, so Fourthman is, the funny thing is that Fourthman is not popular, but we have a lot of brands under Fourthman that are quite popular. So Fourthman is a tech company. We build software, for corporations, banks. I don't know who we've not built for yet. Churches, built for almost everybody. Then we have brands under Fourthman. We have like Polum, one of the pioneers for agent banking. When it started, we work with 2 banks. We also have the collector.ng, which is like GoFundMe. Helps you raise funds for people you care about or things you believe in. So if somebody's sick, you don't have to go around. So the issues usually is somebody's sick, then they put an account number. Nobody knows who has the account number. Then people are paying, we don't even know how much is in. So the person will just say, oh, today is 1 million, it might be 3 million.
No way to even verify.
Right. So there has to be an open, acceptable way where I can see the funds have donated and we have an idea of how much has been donated, who has donated what, so you can go anonymously or you can write your name if you want. But if you say you're trying to raise money for a specific purpose, we should all be aware. So it's something that it's new, but the response has been amazing. A lot of people have, given it a shot.
It's beautiful to know this because, backstage, you were talking to me about the collector.
Yes.
And funny enough, I didn't know that we couldn't have like a GoFundMe raised
here. So you cannot create a GoFundMe in Nigeria, right? They won't let you. So what usually happens is that you need to let somebody outside the country, maybe in the US, in the UK, create an account for you, then send the link. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. But why is that? Why are we restricted?
Maybe, some people have some biases against Nigerians, and you won't blame them, right? Then there are issues of remittance. If you save the money in dollar or pounds, how do you get the money? Because you might go to the bank and bank will say they can't give you the money. So there are many issues.
Okay.
There are legal issues, there are financial issues. So maybe they just felt like to them the market is not big enough or it's not worth the trouble. So.
Okay, fair enough. Bolom brand. Yes. Now I know that once you talked about this brand, I laughed. Because I was wondering why that name Bolom, and then you told me about, BlackBerry, that sound?
That sound, yes, we tried to spell it, bolom.com. So basically, Bolom was our first attempt at fintech, and it was a very successful one. At the time, Nigeria was just getting into the agent banking space, so it's something that we're working on at the time, but we didn't have the license. When they told us the price of the license, we realized that all dreams might not come to reality.
Yeah.
So we reached out to a bank. Fortunately, the bank at the time, they were looking at the space, but they did not want to put their money in. Because they had the license.
Okay.
But
they were not certain if it was going to be profitable.
So we went into some form of partnership. We went in, did the work and all that, but at the end of the day, it was really profitable. They really did a lot for us, but we won't call them. We're not trying to advertise them for free. But I take them now as family. They did a lot for us. Then other banks too, when they try to come into the agent banking space, a lot of them reached out. A lot of them.
Is the Column agent banking still on now?
Very much on. Very much on. Still on. Still on.
Okay.
But now, Nigerians love to copy. So there seems to be everywhere, but we're still on. Why not? We're still on. But just, changing our focus, focusing on other things, but we're still very much on.
Now, an interesting thing that I usually would ask startup founders is, how did you transit into, being a startup founder, or have you always been an entrepreneur? So for you, what's interesting about you is you used to do a 9 to 5.
Yes, for a while, but I get bored easily, right? And I like to build software. Something about software, everything is new. You have no idea of what you're going to do the next morning. I like those kind of things. The 9 to 5, I can't do something continuously for a long time.
Monotony.
Yes, I get bored. So I love the challenge. I like the fact that I build for different industries. Building for financial industries totally different from building for like a church or building for government. Oh, I'll never forget when we built for government. Total different ballgame.
Stressful?
Right? Not stressful. Their rules are different. You understand? People, you don't just build software. There are frameworks for each industry. So you need to understand and build accordingly. But I realized that we're just selling to ourselves. The people with money were not aware that we're there. So there's a lot of noise within us, So I realized that we need to have a way of letting investors know that we have real people that can do the work here. So reached out to Redeem. Redeem, it's Port Harcourt station,
Community
station, right? So we reach out, we explain what we wanted to do, and as God will have it, they agree with us, give us the platform. It was an amazing partnership, right? So what we started doing is, started with picking specific topics that can help entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs have a lot of issues. A lot of people just start businesses because it looks like the in thing to do. I cannot work for anybody.
I'm a CEO.
But there are many things you need to know. How many people go to school to learn how to do a business, right? If you want to be a doctor, you go to school for 7 years. You want to be an engineer, you go to school for 5 years. You want to be a business person, you just start. And you're the CEO, MD, managing director.
CTO, CFO.
You understand? So there are issues that are, consistent with doing businesses in our region, right? Then we had investors, a lot of people that have money, but they don't know where to invest. So they take their money to Lagos and just keep it in the banks, or they go into politics. So we wanted to give entrepreneurs a platform where they could share their ideas, share their issues, people could learn. Then if investors are interested, they can also invest. And so far, it has been very successful. We had businesses on the show that, as they were pitching, an investor tuned in, heard, and called in for it, and they got money. We had a couple of them like that. We had people that had partnerships, sometimes not money, strategic partnerships where you're doing something, but somebody comes to join you and
service.
You understand. So we had a lot of amazing stories. I think we've had almost every successful business that we are aware of in Port Harcourt on that show. Big, small, popular, unpopular. As far as you do something amazing, we want to have you.
And the amazing thing about the show is that, it's not even paid for. Like,
They don't have to pay.
They don't have. It's free. At some point, we need to build a community. It's not everybody seems to be hungry. Everybody wants to make money. But if the community grows, we'll all make money. So every time Mary's talking about Lagos market, Lagos market, they know how to work together. This is us working together. This is us sharing our ideas for free, bringing entrepreneurs together, bringing investors together. So we've done a lot, and we've learned so much from this, so much. And we believe that we can do more.
Have you had any issues where you linked a particular startup company with an investor, the investor, funded, and then the money went kaput?
No. We've had all these issues where, the investor gave him some money 2 months later and said he wants return on investment. So you understand that a typical Port Harcourt investor is not very sophisticated. They are used to Ponzi schemes. So they feel that if I give you money now, in 2 months, I want 20%, 30%, but it doesn't really work like that, right? So the way investment works, sometimes it might take years, but what you're sure of is that if you invest correctly, your return on investment is always amazing. So we're still educating that space, trying to explain to people, you should do due diligence. So don't say because you saw the person on my show, you just invested, investigate, check their books, speak with the founder. Do you agree with the idea? No, it's okay. A lot of people now that want to invest are in the hurry to make money. Oh, I want to give you 10 million in 2 months. You give me 20 million back. It's not kalu business. It's not Ponzi scheme. We're not going to double your money. So we had those issues.
How do you vet what startup companies come on your show?
Okay, so what we do is we always look out for people that do amazing things. So if I tell you the amount of people that reach out per week, you'll be amazed. So people reach out. At first we used to beg people. It's very funny. At first we used to beg people, please come, and people, I had one, there's one particular guy I'll not forget. I won't call the name of his startup. We reached out to him. He was like, I beg, he's busy. He does not need the advert.
With an arrogant air.
After a while, he started seeing the show everywhere. He was here. He now called back that. So he made a mistake. We now told him that we too are busy now. You will join the queue. You understand? Yeah. And when is your turn? So it's always like that when you start something new. But we have a lot of entrepreneurs that reach out, founders and all that. So what we try to do is we have topics for each section, so 3 months, 4 months, things we talk about. Then we try to choose businesses that tally what we want to talk about. So we can decide to say, okay, for this month we're looking at the agri-tech space. For this month we're looking at the fintech space. For this month we're looking at this space, entertainment space. Then we look for businesses around that discussion and what you're doing, what are the challenges and all that. So.
One of the reasons I love what you're doing is because there is not a lot of buzz out there in Port Harcourt about what the startup community is doing and what we're building. And through your show, we are able to be more enlightened as to what we actually do have. Because every time we talk about startup communities, people automatically think two particular states, Lagos, Abuja.
Yes.
But Port Harcourt is doing amazing stuff. Can we hear more about that, the startup community here?
The startup community in Port Harcourt, it's growing fast, and we're learning very fast. A lot of mistakes were made in the past where we had more abobo juice, big talk.
Yeah.
Then a lot of people got discouraged. But we have people that have made money, people that are making money. We have people that have had investments, But the only challenge we have here is that the government has not paid attention yet. But I feel that with time they will. Make enough money, they will pay attention, right? But, we've had funding from outside the country, from the Lagos into Port Harcourt. But then again, Port Harcourt founders are a little bit skeptical. Oh, people here, you got $250,000. All your family people begin to beg you. You understand? All of a sudden, your pastor is sending you a text message. You have not paid
your tithe. You need to pay that though.
So that's why sometimes some of them are quiet. But we are aware that a lot of them are doing amazing. And we have, people don't understand that we actually have businesses from Port Harcourt that have gone to other states. Right?
I'll get into that because that really interests me. So we'll be right, but we'll come back to you after the shop break.
Hey there. Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Thav Media give life to your dreams. Thav Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back. Before we went on the short break, we were about to talk about some startup communities that have reach in other states.
Yeah, so, the pioneers, I think the first one I really noticed was Jevnik. I'll never forget the first time I was in Abuja, I think it was Gariki or so, and I saw Jevnik. I was like, this is our own. But people don't share those stories. Then we have people like Market Square. We have other startups that from Port Harcourt. They've gone around. We have a big kitchen. From Port Harcourt, they've gone to States. They've gone to Lagos. They've gone to Akwa Ibom. They have brands. They have outlets around, and they're doing very well. So, when people talk about we don't have businesses from Port Harcourt that are going to others, it's not true. You might not be aware, but it's not true. And I'm just saying about the ones I know. I'm sure there are more that I might not be aware of.
So what is the issue? Why are we not aware? So is it that we don't have enough coverage on our startup community, or why are we not aware?
First of all, Port Harcourt is new to the business space. Okay. The typical Port Harcourt boy wants to work in oil company.
Oil, politics.
Or politics. He wants to be a follower. So when the oil,
Boss.
companies started leaving, then for the first time they realized that we need to survive, we have to do something else. So a lot of them, let's say in the last 10 years, a lot of people now start trying to do business. So you can't be comparing Port Harcourt to Lagos that's been doing business for 40, 50 years. So we're still very new. We're making mistakes, we're learning, we're growing. Now, another thing you need to consider is that, like I said, government has not paid attention to businesses yet. They are still very much interested in pushing the oil companies to collect tax. Then even you start a business, you look as if you are doing well, being successful. Obiakwa boys will come for you.
Multiple taxation.
So yes, we've had that issue. Then there's a time where we tried to engage government on the ease of doing business. That was some years back. They tried, Then we started having.
With what particular governor?
There's ending of Amechi, beginning of Wike.
Okay.
So they did some things, So then I think the effective changes like you could now immediately you get your CAC, you can now get your tax, what do you call it, the form or so, and it's free. I know they did do a few changes, but in Nigeria, after a while, everybody goes back to start to school and all that. So it will take a while, but at least we have started. I feel that that's the most important thing. We have started. We're talking about them. We need to shed more light on them.
With a platform like yours, that's already
That's
doing
the
a
plan.
good
So
job.
maybe people will start paying more attention when we have our first unicorn. Maybe.
Honestly, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, maybe.
And that brings me to this question. You told me about some startups that have already raised funding.
We had a lot.
We don't hear much about that.
Well, like I said, some people feel that if they talk about it now, people will begin to beg them.
Kidnapped real quick.
You understand? So
Yeah.
if your industry, you will know. Oh, this guy got 250. We have people that have got it. A lot of people have got it.
But River State is not the only state that has insecurity issues. I mean, Lagos is also highly insecure. But then,
there's something about money. If you make money where there are a lot of other rich people, people will not pay attention. If you make money where there are a lot of hungry people, you become a target.
that's a point.
So in Port Harcourt now, you buy a G-Wagon, everybody pays attention. Lagos drive a G-Wagon, nobody cares. Because on the road, you might see like 50 of them. So it's the same thing. So you make a lot of money, you now begin to show yourself. You get into trouble.
How can and it's also a personal thing for me. How can the government pay more attention to startup communities? I mean, it's not all about building bridges.
First of all, you see this question you asked me, I'm a little bit excited, so I don't even know where to start from. You understand? I usually ask me this question. There are many ways the government can come in. On the show, and also on my show, I like to ask this question. What do you think the government can do for you? Because I found out that the government doesn't actually have all the answers. There are many times, I've been in meetings with government officials, they have no idea what you're talking about. It's not as if they don't want to help you, but they don't know what you're talking about. So there's this assumption that government knows everything. It's not true. A lot of them don't know what you're talking about. So the question is, how can government help? You see this question?
Multifaceted.
Yes. I'd rather take it from different industries.
Okay.
You understand? I'll give you an example. Before we came on, we were talking about agric, right? So let me tell you the food chain, how normal food is brought into River State. Maybe from Benue or Adamawa, they bring food. You take it to the market, you drop it, the market union comes and buys it from you at a price, then they decide to set their own price. That is why there's no control about food price.
Open market policy.
So imagine if the government begins to pay attention and says, you know what, I'll help you transport that food. When it comes, I will help you determine the price of that product. Do you know how many people will survive? How many people will be happy? So sometimes it's not a big thing. Just small things can solve big problems. I'll give you another one. Let's look at chicken. Let me not say 100%. Let me say 95%. The day chickens we have in River State are brought from Ibadan.
And when you said that, I was shocked.
Yes. So they bring the day-old chicks. So by the time they come, they're like 300 or 400 naira already. By the time they bring them, you understand? Then what we now do, university, they buy and all that and all that. What stops government? How much will it cost them? How much? To now create hatcheries. And I heard that they even have, but they're not working. So if you don't want to run them, give them 10 entrepreneurs to run. I pay me 2 million or whatever, every month. So we've cut out one state's money is not leaving. A lot of people get employed. So there are many simple, so I can take you through different industries, this, that, small things that they can do. Let's look at construction. You give Julius Berger 10 billion to build road. Nobody gets the contract to buy sand. Nobody knows where they're getting sand from. Let us assume that that bridge is 10 billion. Maybe it might cost 1 billion to buy sand. Do you know 1 billion naira inside the economy of River State for people will cost? You understand? Then imagine if you have small construction companies, you force Julius Berger to work with them, they will learn.
But it is said by the governor,
and these things are not, they're not big things, that's what I'm saying. So they're not big things that, we have to sit down and talk to House of Assembly. Small things that we can do.
Little
Let me
changes.
take you on another one. No, that's why I said this question you asked me. You look for trouble. You understand? Let's look at healthcare. What's the problem with healthcare? A lot of people are not doing, what they call it now, insurance for healthcare because they are not aware. Number one, it's not because it's expensive; they are not aware. So imagine if I tell you that if you pay your tax automatically, you have insurance for healthcare, so you're no longer afraid to go to the hospital. Just bounce with your card, you enter there, you won't pay 1 naira. Do you think people will pay more taxes or less?
They would pay more.
You will pursue them again. They will pay. Market people will pay. Then the more people come, the more money the hospital will make. So there are many, you understand?
No, these things you say, they seem like they're ABC, right? But the government already have their advisors. There are people, there are commissioners in various sectors, investment and all that. So they ought to be aware about these loopholes that they could capitalize on, but yet it's not done.
Can a man give what he does not have? If somebody has never worked and never really grown a business, you won't blame him. If somebody has done politics all his life, he will approach you like a politician. So some people are more interested in doing the big things everybody can see. If you see what I'm doing. But sometimes the small things that people don't see are more important than the big things everybody sees. So if a man has not done business, I mean no disrespect, if not worked before,
It brings me to this question. So obviously we're in Nigeria. We know that from the federal government to state government, they're not doing enough. And I definitely stand with you when you speak on the fact that they probably are not even aware, and they also don't even know where to come from or where to start. I agree with you on that. But also, has the startup community tried to call for the attention?
A lot of times. They've reached out, had meetings with them, a lot of times. Like me, I keep saying, yes, we should try to engage government, but I know that the best way to get government's attention is to grow.
Results.
Bring in more money. Government will pay attention. But another fear is let them not now pay attention and feel that you have too much money.
And then you become a threat.
You understand? But I feel that if we do more, yes, we try to, from time to time, we engage them, invite them, talk to them. Okay, these are the challenges we're having. But most times, like I said.
For example, 2023 elections are around the corner. A way that the attention of the incoming government, whoever the party is, it could have been an avenue where the startup community they have a face or a forum, and then they are able to itemize certain things that they want to be implemented in the tech space or the startup space, and that should be like the port of call when they're having conversations with the government. So these people are aware that this is what we are looking out for if you're going to probably be looking out for our backing, because obviously they need the whole publicity, from various media outlets or startup communities and all of that. So if that angle is explored, wouldn't that be a better foundation with the new government coming in?
Okay, so the problem is in Nigeria, they believe that in normal societies, SME should be the highest employer of labor, not government. But in Nigeria, government seems to be the highest employer of labor. So maybe to them, they feel like, SMEs, how much when I get? You're not really important, but, might pay attention because we need your votes. However, even if you have, you sit down and say, do this, they will say yes.
And then?
It's when they get in there. You understand? But if they understand that, see, there's no way government can employ everybody. And they should stop lying to the people. No. The dream is to be, you graduate from school, you get employed by government. Then they give you government house, and they give you official car. How many if you look at secretaries, state secretaries, how many people can they give? So the dream has to change. Do you understand? People have to be able to take care of themselves, and that's already happening. So what the government can do is just help. And there are many ways they can help. By not necessarily breaking the banks. But still, there's nothing wrong with giving grants to startup founders. You understand? I know there's a time the governor gave, you see, 1 billion to who? One state, dash them money. That's how, do you know if you even take 100 entrepreneurs in River State, you give them 10 million each or 15, 20 million.
It will go a long way.
Do you know what will happen to the economy? You will see a lot of people get employed.
Yeah.
Do you understand? A lot of people get employed. And sometimes we can look at a section of the economy and say, you know what? If you get some entrepreneurs that are working in that space, empower them. You will solve that problem. Government is not good at doing business. So most times when government tries to do business, it doesn't work. So why not get the private sector? Empower them. Monitor them. You can own some shares in their company. Then let them fire down. It's their job. They will follow through.
This conversation is so multifaceted, because I know that there are a lot of loopholes that can be fixed, that is not necessarily rocket science to fix, and yet they won't fix it. But still, on a lighter note, startup community in Port Harcourt, you have been doing this for how long?
5-6 years.
How has it been? Because, there's still that bias, we talked about it, where people don't necessarily believe in the startup communities in Port Harcourt. For example, I want a photographer, I want a videographer, cinematographer. Most of the time, when the Port Harcourt man comes to me, I look at him and I say, not me personally anyway, but I mean the generic Port Harcourt person.
And you want Lagos, somebody from Lagos.
You understand that? So what informs that bias, first of all?
Well, the Lagos people are louder. Lagos is very loud. So you can see somebody doing something that is not amazing, but he's so loud about it, it now looks big. But I feel that in the last 2-3 years, that gap has closed. So we don't have too much. I remember then now, when Aztec came out, you see crews, they would fly people from Lagos to come and shoot events. All those things have reduced. You understand? So what Lagos people are loud, because in Lagos you are not loud, you will die. So they are loud, then they are more outgoing. Everything they have, they put it on social media, so you see. And the more people see perception people have about you, then the Port Harcourt people are I would say they're a little bit timid. You understand? Why would I say that? We've had people do amazing things. And I say, why? I say, no, I don't want people to come, they worry me. You understand? Amazing entrepreneurs, amazing things they do. But they don't want to talk about it. So there are some people who beg them and say, please, you see this thing, people have to know they are doing it. I'm like, okay, will you call my name? I don't want you to call my name. I'm like, how do we call your name?
Right. And you probably might have to reopen your blog. I really don't know why that was shut down.
So why I stopped my blog was I couldn't keep up. The more as you get older, the responsibilities, I had too many things. I know blogging is serious work. It's consistency. You understand? You have to, if you say you're blogging in the morning, you have to be consistent, because people will hold you accountable. You understand? And there are consequences for blogging. You post some stories. There's one time one guy did a story, the guy followed me. So when I see some of these young bloggers, they are not doing the right stories. You do the right stories, they'll come and look for you. They will chase you small. You understand? So at this point in time, I feel like, it's not the best use of my time. Maybe later if I have more time, I may go back into it, but this time it's not the best use of my time.
But I think you should look into it, because, like I was saying to you, I mean, we need such blogs or pods that are primarily centered around, Port Harcourt startup communities, because I see like Tech Cabal, they mostly shine the light on Lagos startup communities. So we need something like that here. I love what you're doing. I love how you're doing that with radio, but I think we still need more coverage.
I agree with you. We need more, but at the same time is that you must look at the way people are changing. You understand? Attention span. People are focusing less. They don't read much.
Yeah.
So maybe you might not have to blog on one of the micro platforms. Maybe you not have to put it on Facebook every time or Twitter or something, you know. So, you know, at the time, first blogs were big. Then people like Instablog came up that were on Instagram. They didn't have like their own platform.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe something like that may work, but it's a lot of work. You know, people don't consider the amount of work that goes into churning out content every day or every 2 days or every week. It's a lot of work. It's a lot. But I feel that, yes, I hope that somebody decides to do it. I would help if I can, you know, because we need to have a lot of content, we can push it their way. But, you know, it takes a lot of work to consistently post.
I love that. I think that's an absolute opportunity right
So
there.
if you're an entrepreneur and you feel that you have the energy and you have the time, why? Feel free, fire that.
A loophole to be covered. So rounding up, I mean, because if we have this conversation continuously, I don't think I'm going to wrap it up, because this is a part of me that I'm really very much interested in. PH City to the world. That's all that is in my head for the time being.
Our slogan on the show is, we started off, we believe that startups from Port Harcourt can change the world. That's our slogan on the show.
Lovely.
Startups from Port Harcourt can change the world.
They can.
Yes, they can.
So, quickly, rounding up, what projections do you have with Port Harcourt startup community?
For 2023. You know the funny thing? Today is Wednesday. Tuesday, I asked people on my show this same question. What are the projections for 2023? The truth is that it is an election year. Everybody's careful. It's difficult. So I would say there are projections based on who wins. If so and person wins, these are what I may consider as my projection. If this person wins, so that is the problem.
Okay.
So those projections have to be based on who wins the election. There's some people that win the election that automatically dollar will drop.
Well, fair enough.
Just nothing will happen, just for the fact that they won.
They won, yeah.
There's some people that immediately they win the election, things will skyrocket. People will begin to leave the country. They've not sworn the person in.
Yes.
So you see, we see why it's difficult for me to make projections now. You know, until I'm sure immediately after the elections, I will have a lot to say.
No, but regardless of the elections, there probably still are some cross-carpeting projections that you might have.
Okay, what I foresee happening is that, you know, we'll still have bigger brands from Port Harcourt. You understand? I strongly believe that the gap between Lagos and Port Harcourt is closing every day. It will take a longer time. We will never be equal. Let's be realistic. And I feel that that's something we should come to realization. We're not fighting Lagos. We cannot fight them. But we can do things in our own space and make our own noise and be as big as we need to be. Right? So I feel that, you know, we'll have more entrepreneurs. You know, I'm sure that by 2023, more oil companies will leave. A lot of them are sold assets. More of them will leave in 2023. So I feel that there will be more focus on businesses.
Absolutely.
More focus on businesses. They will have no choice. So either you do business or you die. So it's not.
Or you die.
Yes. There's no in between. So that's because I know one of the biggest have sold like 60-70% of their assets. They almost sold the last part, but they went to court with them. So by next year, they will have agreed. When they pull out, people will shake. So
hard projections out there, but then I think it's also on the flip side, it's a good projection for the business world.
Yes.
I mean, people should capitalize on that.
I feel that when that happens, a lot of people that are paid off, you know, when you're going to pay a lot of people off,
will begin to look for where to put their monies in. Nice.
No, that hasn't happened this year. When NNPC laid off a lot of people, a lot of people reached out. Oh, where can I invest? A lot of them. So the same thing is going to happen again. And this is going to be more because they have more employees. When they do that, a lot of people are going to look for where to invest because you need to understand that that's their last money. There's no pension for a lot of them. That lump sum is what they're going to live on.
Thank you so much. I think this has been an absolutely amazing show.
Thank
I
you
have
very
been
much.
so enlightened,
Thank
and I
you.
hope you have been as well. One last thing, I really need to ask this before we run, regardless of production. There's been that bias that it's so tough doing business in Port Harcourt. How can you debunk that myth?
It's tough doing business in Nigeria.
Just briefly.
It's tough doing business in Nigeria. It's not just Port Harcourt. But Port Harcourt, a lot of people are friendly. So I feel that it's easier to do business in Port Harcourt compared to Lagos. Lagos people are rude. A lot of people are friendly. If you get into the right space, you know, make the right friends, you know, things will be way easier for you. Yes, way easier.
Thank you so much, Mr. Boma Peters.
Thank
Congrats on all that you do, and I
Thank
hope
you.
that, more, in fact, the first unicorn, should come out of one of the startups that you're associated with.
That's our
Absolutely.
prayer too.
Thank you so much, and I hope that you have enjoyed this conversation, and I hope that you have learned a thing or two. Do well to stay tuned to Thav TV. This remains Thav Exclusive. I am your host, Natasha. Bye for now.